So can you tell us how the Louisville Ballet and Moving Collective became involved in this project?
Yeah, that so with each project, we also like to challenge ourselves in a new way. And the challenge of this project was to include more participants than we had ever included in past projects in terms of performers, for one. And for two was to do something in which a live performance interacted with the filming of the project and what would become the video. And, you know, with all of this like Shaker love in our hearts, we're like, yeah, we'll just gather like a big group of people and we'll do this day-long thing and it's going to be amazing. And we'll see what happens after they, you know, reach this point of exhaustion, and we'll get it all documented, you know, wow. And then when I realized that gathering a multitude of participants was going to be quite challenging in a city in which I'm not located in, a lot of phone calls and a lot of calls to friends and contacts and colleagues to see who could help me resource people. And I had taken out like because I had initially this idea that we could include non-performers, that it was anyone who wants to participate outside of trained dancers, but anyone who had who was willing to sign like a waiver of health, and because we knew it would be challenging physically. So, and keeping that in mind, like keeping movement sequences very simple, but something that would be more like physically challenging, but not necessarily having to have this high level of dance execution. In the end, that was it proved kind of impossible for me to do from New York. And so where I relied on dance world contacts and connections, and Liz Hartwell, actually, who had performed in one of the, I think, Louisville Ballet Company's performances in the Shaker House, got referred, I was put in touch with her through a mutual friend, explained the project. She said that sounded awesome, and she put me in touch with Theresa. And Theresa then was like, I think I might have some people that would be interested in participating. And Leticia Queensberry is a visual artist who knew Jeff at the gallery, who knew Robert Cran of the Louisville Ballet Company, because I had actually contacted I think it's in Lexington, there's like a theater school. I mean, I had contacted several of the universities there, and like cold contacting theater departments, and nothing. Like it was birds chirping, like, you know, like, and no, I was like, what is going on? Like, you know, but thank God Robert was like so generous and so like open to this idea, and really offered so much support in context with his dancers, and like even when we first met, like the performers, like they gave us some space to meet in. He was just very generous, and the ballet company was very generous with supplying many of the performers. And then once we started working with Robin, who was like helping us do the project coordination, she was reaching out within the community through her local networks to get some other performers. And there was more scheduled to show, but at the last minute, as things happen, you know, people fall through. So yeah, in the end, it ended up being mostly, there was like 2 performance artists and the rest were dancers. And that's this idea of like, when you have this, you know, goal of diversity and inclusivity, and like really, how do you do that, and how do you manage to make that happen? And who am I to think that I can just snap my fingers and how, like, all of a sudden, you know? Yeah, so I learned a lot in that process, because it was actually quite challenging. I felt, yeah, it's a good lesson.
Mm-hmm.